John, I'm an alcoholic. And before I get started, I was thinking earlier I had all these excuses running through my head, and the fear was kind of eating me up a little bit, and I was just trying to make the best of it, and I was like, dang, I still got a little time before I gotta go, and then next Andy calls me about 10 till 5, and he's like, what you up to? And I was just playing. I was like, I'm sick. And he was like, I know damn well you're sick. And they just let me know, like, it reminded me, like, all the things that Alcoholics Anonymous did for me, and the hope that I got when I first got to hear my first speaker when I was in treatment, and just hearing that little bit of hope. But like I said, it was pretty funny, so I figured that's how it started off. Anyway, my sobriety date is August 9th, 2016, and I'll never forget that day. It was a horrible day, but we'll get to that part. Like Andy said, I grew up here in Moore County my whole life, born and raised, and like in my house, especially as an early kid, my parents got divorced when I was young. I was like 3 years old, and so whatever the circumstances was, whoever had custody at the time is where I'd be at, or I'd get to see mom every other weekend, or my dad every other weekend, and that's how it went. But basically for my whole life, since I've been sober, like growing up with my parents and stuff, you never knew what was going to happen. There was always fussing, fighting, cussing, you never knew, really you never knew who was going to win. Like, mom might win tonight and dad might win tomorrow night, but there's going to be a fight, and that's just how it was. And for the longest time, I used to question God, like, why did I get dealt this hand? Because no kid should have to go through or see the things that I had to see, and it was just horrible, man. But what I know today is I had to go through all that to get me where I am today. And like I said, my parents, they both suffered from alcoholism. It's no knock on them. It was just untreated, and they did the best they could with what they had, for sure. But like I said, growing up, my parents were divorced, and my dad got remarried. I had a stepmom, and for the longest time, we never really seen eye to eye, because I always thought she was trying to take my mom's position, and at the end of the day, what I know is she was just trying to do the best she could as well, as help raise me as well. But growing up, I don't know, from maybe 5 to 12 years old, I can't tell you how many schools that I went to, and it wasn't because like my grades were horrible or bad. It was just we always moving around. I might be in West End, I might be in Aberdeen, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, but there was never no stability in our household. Whoever I was living with at the time, mom or dad, and just a constant battle back and forth. Have to meet new friends, go to this school, go to that school, or it was just, like I said, always chaos. But let's see here. From that, like I said, that lasted until I was about 10 or 12 years old, and finally, like I said, here I am, 12 years old, and I think I was 12 or 13 was the first time I ever really got drunk, and I remember it clear as day. Actually, my buddy, he's here tonight. We asked his uncle to get us a beer or get us some liquor to get us drunk, and so he took us to the store, and he was like, "Only way I'm gonna do it if you buy me one." So we 13 years old, and hey, that was a good idea. You know what I mean? Hey, we got you. So we give him the money, and we in this, never forget, this Honda Odyssey van, man, and we send him in there to the store, and he comes out, and he's got his bag, and he's got like, it looks like he's got one in there. I'm like, damn, Either he didn't get us one or he got one. Anyway, he gets out to the car, man, and he pulls the bag out and a little Mad Dog 2020, and never forget it was yellow and it was banana flavor. And like I said, hell, we didn't know, let's do it. And he said, I bought one, and pulled his shirt up and said, I stole 5. I'll never forget that, man. He had every color there was, just in case we didn't like yellow. And I think he got us a black and mild too. And like I said, we thought we were the deal. But that's like the first time I ever really got drunk or got a nice buzz from it. And like I said, I remember that day clear as a bell. And so moving forward, here I am, middle school. Like I said, there's staying with my dad at the time, and things are just not good at the household. There's been plenty of times where the circumstances was, if it wasn't for my buddy and his family, there was plenty of times that I wouldn't eat that night because the way that my parents were living, and be gone, who knows where they're going to be. But my buddy and his family and his grandma, they did the best they could, like, to make sure that we had what we had. And I'm grateful for them because they were always there when it counted. And just thinking about it now, and like I said, it was, what a blessing that was. At the time, it was horrible, but at the end of the day, at least somebody was there for us, and that constant thing lasted a couple years, man. Just either dad's doing decent and mom's doing horrible, or the vice versa. But like I said, at the end of the day, I used to always think, or always tell myself, I'm never gonna be like that. No matter what, I'm not gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna treat my kid like that. And I always said that growing up, like, I'm just not going to be like that. And what happened, I was way worse. I turned out way worse than they ever could have been. And like I said, here I am, 15, 16-year-old now, and, drinking has definitely picked up. Like I said, we party every chance we got, but the damn street light come on and we getting hollered at for sure. But we did, we did what we could do when we could, and 16 years old, next thing you know, I'm drinking more, I'm hanging out more, I'm not, there's no rules to follow in my house, like, there's no direction and guidance, pretty much come as go as you please, and, like I said, 16, we drinking more, next thing you know, I'm smoking a little weed, and that's kind of where it started at. Like I said, I noticed Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm gonna try to do my best to be respectful about it, but I also can't downplay my story as well. Like I said, 16, started smoking a little weed, and like I said, in school, I did pretty good in school. I never really applied myself, never really studied for nothing. I was a C+ kind of guy. Whatever got by without having to do any real work, that was the route I normally took. And 16 years old, 17, 18, just always took the easy way. I've never worked hard for nothing at all. I always took the easy lifestyle, fast money, and I always got the same consequences as well. But so here I am in high school. I don't know how I graduated high school, but I did. Like I said, I never applied myself, never did nothing, and graduated high school, and I got other friends going to college and things like that. And here we are, not out of high school loan, and partying, drinking like we normally do, and get pulled over, me and my buddies, and the cop, the whole deal, right window down. We rolled the window down. Car's whole smoked out. Smoke rolling out of the car, blah, blah, blah. Search and all that kind of good stuff. And so, search the car, blah, blah. Officer finds this big bag of stuff. And he was like, so y'all selling weed, I guess, right? And my buddy says, no, sir, that's one bag for every day of the month. And like I said, you can't make this stuff up, man. So all three of us, we go to jail. And, nobody's taking the blame for this. We all took a ride for that one, but and like I said, that's how it started, man. It was just a kind of innocent kind of deal, drinking, smoking a little weed, thinking it's an innocent deal. But what I know that today is that progression that was slowly building up, and that momentum was moving forward for sure. And that's how it went, man. From once I started that one day drinking a little Mad Dog until I got sober, it was like this ball rolling down a hill that was just building up momentum constantly, and it always got worse. And so after that first charge I remember I got on probation. They gave me 12 months supervised probation. Had to do a little community service. It cost like $3,000 or $4,000 an attorney, but like I said, I got 12 months probation. It took me 9 years to do 12 months worth of probation. I get so close to getting off, man, and next thing you know, I done got another charge, and I'm not kidding you. Like my probation officer told me one time that I could be an advocate for probation because I have took every class, every test, everything that Moore County has to offer. I have took it, and finally they sent me to prison a few times. But like I said, and that's how my life went. Constantly, just constantly getting worse. Drinking, going out, drinking and driving. And like I said, I always took the easy way. I never worked. Hell, I just think about it now. I remember we was 15 years old. Me and Andy and Scott. I mean, we was at Lone Star drinking, like at the bar. 15 years old. Like, it's just the way it turned out. But I mean, that was like for real. And just like these constant things always happen. It was almost like I was untouchable. That's what I felt like because I had a little money from, like I said, taking the easy way out. And I just lived like that for the longest time. Never worked, and basically a disappointment. Basically, I turned into the man that I said I'd never turn into. And like I said, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was okay, but there was no consequences in the household for the way I was living. Like I said, I had good parents, man, real good parents, just loving parents, but they also suffered from this deal. And so here it is. I'm 18 or 19 years old, and like I said, drinking and partying, not working, taking the easy road, and like I said, this thing's constantly rolling. It's like a ball going down the hill, and start doing other things. And the prescription pills came into play. I'm not going to elaborate much on it, but like I said, it's part of my story. Started trying new things, selling new things, and that vicious cycle just started. And once that really got a hold of me, and drinking as well, it was just a spiral. And like I said, my parents, good parents, they always loved to be around me. I loved to be around them, and even doing the things that I did, drinking and other things. And I was 23 years old, and I'll never forget it. I was just coming out of Superior Court, because that's what I always ended up in, Superior Court. And I was excited. I was excited. The judge had gave me 250 hours community service, $5,000 fine, and I had to do 90 days in the Department of Corrections, and I think I got five more years probation as well. I'm excited because I was looking at like 36 to 48 months for the stuff that I got caught with, and like I said, I'm excited. I get to walk out. I had like a week before I had to surrender myself, or whatever he called it. And I walked out and I called my dad, and I told my dad, what happened. Like I said, I'm pretty pumped up. I'm free, knowing I got to go away, but I'm free at the time. And my dad says, well, I'm up here in Chapel Hill. I just got some tests done, and they gave me 7 days to live. And I was like, wow. And so those 7 days didn't last but 3, but I got to be there with my dad. And like I said, I wasn't sober, man. I was still doing what I normally do. And but I was there with him, and it was almost like I said, I'm 23 years old and living that lifestyle and fast pace, and like I said, I didn't make the time that I should have made for my dad when he was sick, but I was there for the last 3 days, and when he passed, like the little bit of good that I had left in me and the morals and values that I had just a little bit left, like that completely left for sure, and it just took everything out of me because, like I said, we were really tight, and so after that day and everything, funeral and stuff like that, like I said, it really got worse. I did things that I said I would never do. I put things in my body I said I never put in my body, and without going into full detail, you probably catch my drift about it. And the dry goods, it didn't matter, what color, shape, size, all that applied. The drinking got worse. Like I said, I just really kind of gave up on life, and what also happened is constant more charges kept coming. Like I said, I'm serious when it took me 9 years to do 12 months probation. It was just the same old cycle constantly, and basically whoever I came in contact with, it was not because I was a good person. It was just because either you had something I wanted, and that was just the way it was. I never really cared too much about nothing. But moving forward, like I said, my dad had passed away. I was about 23, and I think I got another charge. And the only way I'll take that back. Before my dad passed away, I went to treatment. I went to Samaritan Colony. I got another charge, and attorney said it'll look better in your case if you go to treatment. So I went to treatment, not that I was trying to get help. I went to treatment because it was going to look better for court. And like I said, I left all my people, I'll be back on this day, basically. So I had no intentions on getting sober, staying sober. I had reservations when I came out, and I got what I got when I got out. The same cycle started back, worse than what it was. And then my dad passed, and like I said, it just got even more worse. And the drinking said it got worse, and the close calls is what really started to scare me. It wasn't the consequences, and it wasn't the jail or the prison anymore that scared me. I'd had so many close calls where I almost didn't make it. It started to open my eyes up a little bit, and I was sitting at home one day, and also by this time I have my daughter was 11 months old. We had a daughter, and I was in such bad shape for those 11 months. Like I couldn't even change my daughter's diaper, whether it was the smell or my phone was ringing, and I just couldn't make time for her. I remember Mark asking me at the colony, and he was like, have you ever stolen anything from your daughter? And I'm like, nah, I never stole nothing from my daughter. Like, she's 11 months. And he was like, yeah, you have. You stole her time. And, for me, I didn't ever think about things like that. And that hit home with me. And, like I said, for 11 months, I was never there for really at all. just about every Christmas, Thanksgiving, I was the grandson or son passed out on the couch, or I was gone or just couldn't make it. My grandma had passed away, and shortly after my dad did, and I remember, like, this is how bad it was. I remember headed to my grandmother's funeral, like on the way to the funeral, dressed up and everything, and my phone rang, and I just couldn't make it to my grandma's funeral. Like, somebody I loved and cared a lot about, and I just couldn't make it to her funeral, and that's all direct of alcoholism. And so here I am, 26, 27 years old, convicted felon, no hope in life, just constantly headed down the hill, so many close calls with dying through this disease. I remember being in my apartment, and my fiance's gone. She took the baby, took my daughter. They left because it wasn't a safe place to be honest about it. And it didn't matter how much I drank or whatever I did that day. It would just not fill that void that I was used to feeling. And what I remember is picking up my phone and calling a buddy of mine who was in the program, good friend of mine. And like I said, it took me a while to find his number because I didn't have anybody on my phone at the time who was doing the deal. Anyway, I called this man, and he talked to me for about 45 minutes, and he gave me my other buddy's number, Mark, and I came down here and met him. It was somewhere like toward the end of September. I met Mark outside, and I was in such bad shape. Mark said, some things to do if you want some help. Go to detox and call me. And so he was like, you probably need to go home. You look terrible. And I was looking at some photos, man. I did look terrible. So anyway, he sent me out of here. I go to leave. I'm about to go do my thing one more good time, get drunk. One more good time before I go to detox, because I was just tired of living the way I was living. And I go to leave this building, this very building, and the clutch goes out my throat. And I live, at the time, not even 4 streets up. And like I said, I got back to the house, and I text Mark, and I was like, man, you won't believe my damn clutch went out in my truck. He texted me back. He said, God is good. So a couple days later, I finally got my mom to take me to detox, and I kind of made up in my mind that, this is it. This is it. I've had so many close calls, and I was I was just hopeless, man. I was just a hopeless person. And anyway, I said I was going to do the deal. Mark asked me if I was willing to go to any length of a victory over alcohol, and I was like, I'm willing. He said, call me and get a detox. So I go to detox. I'm in there for about 3 days. I called Mark, and I said, well, I'm about to get out. I'm about to be heading your way. And he was like, well, we got to change plans. You're going to go to the safe house for about 2 weeks. And I was pissed, but I did it. Because I was just so sick and tired of living the way I was living and that lifestyle. And so I did it, went to the safe house for 2 weeks. I went to Samaritan Colony, and this time when I showed up, I was ready to listen. I was ready to do whatever it takes to get me to stop living the way I've been living my whole life. And they broke me down. Like, I finally just started listening, and everything that Harold and them put on the board, I wrote down, and everything. And got out of treatment, and before I left treatment, I had asked. They asked me what I wanted to do. Do I want to go to a recovery home, or do I want to go back home? And my answer was, I'm going back home. So I go back home, and like I said, to go right back to the same apartment I was living in. And my buddy that helped me get me where I'm at today, he picked me up every day, 3 times a day. I made my 90-90. gratitude list, praying on my knees every morning, every night, reading page 86, 87, 88, page 100 and 417. Same thing I was taught in treatment. I'll do the same thing today that I was taught in treatment. And like I said, and that's where it started at. I got a sponsor, and like I said, my whole life, I never really trusted a lot of people or had much faith in a lot of people. But the sponsor I got today, like I knew he was the real deal when he disclosed some things to me that like you really don't tell nobody. But that right there built the trust, where I could open up to him, talk to him about anything, and like I said, and that's where we started at, just building that trust. And like I said, we'd come down here every Sunday. Well, I would be here every Sunday. Take that back. I'd be here every Sunday like I was supposed to be, and it used to piss me off, man. I come down here and ready to read. My sponsor wouldn't be here. And I'd call him after the meeting, and I said, "Man, where you at?" And he was like, "Where are you at?" I was like, "I'm at the meeting." He was like, "That's right where you need to be." You know what I mean? That willingness. He would make sure I was willing, man, and I was, man. And like I said, for the first 18 months, I was really on fire for AA. I was at a lot of meetings, and I'm back up just a little bit now that I think about it. I was about 4 months sober, and coming here, I was driving some cars for my sponsor, and making like, it don't matter what I was making, but I was tickled. You know what I mean? I was really tickled. I was working with my sponsor all the time, and I was excited, man. And a fella came in here and he was looking for some help, or the place that was looking for some help, and my sponsor said, I guess the guy, he asked my sponsor if he knew anybody, good recommendation. So my sponsor recommended me, and I was pissed because I felt like my sponsor was like giving up on me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I like this deal. I get to work with my sponsor. Like it was a deal. I thought, but after my sponsor brought it up to me, I met with this fella, and I'll never forget this, man. This kind of things just don't happen. I got to meet this guy at this company, and he basically asking me what I'm willing to work for, and I threw out a number. Hell, I didn't really know no better. Hell, he gives me $2 more than I was even asking for, and I was just like, this is crazy, man. But that was letting me know right there, like, that's God working in my life. And I still work for the same place ever since then. Got hired shortly after that. Come home one day from working, and like I said, my fiance's back, got my daughter back, and just trying to do the best I can. Like I said, here is 4 or 5 months sober, and come home from work, been doing the deal now, like doing right, living right. And there's a note on my door saying I've been evicted. And circumstances was the apartment was in my mom's name, and they found out I was a convicted felon. Long story short, I can't live there. Doors are locked, and like there's no going back in for nothing. And next thing you know, for the next 10 days, I'm living in a hotel right here in town where I used to do all my drinking and other things at, and but I'm still doing the deal. And I call my sponsor. I'm talking to my sponsor about it. And what I really wanted to tell me that he feels sorry for me, and he's gonna help me get a place. But that ain't the case. He said we ain't got no time for self-pity. There's action to be done. You gotta trust the process. We're just gonna keep doing AA. So like I said, once I told him the first time I was willing to do it, everything they asked me to do, and that's what I did. I stayed in that hotel for 10 days, and next God put something better in my life. A little single wide trailer, and we was tickled, man. And like I said, it was a bad environment where I was at. I think that was just, I know that's what it was. That was just God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And like I said, me and my stepmother had always had like a little rocky relationship, but she took care of my dad when he was basically ever since they was married. But she took care of him, and she was always a good person, a good woman. And some things that happened with her health. Like I said, I was about 18 months sober, and from getting sober to about 18 months, I'll take it about 2 years. From getting sober to 2 years, my stepmother had some health issues. She had multiple sclerosis, and next you know, they took her leg off, so she was amputee as well. At this job I'm working at, I'm gone a lot. I'm out of town a lot, and I'm working on cell towers. And like I said, I'm normally gone, but every time I was home or around, I made sure she got what she was supposed to get and get where she needed to go, and just being there for her, because, like I said, she was always there for me, always, since I was 5-6 years old, and just a good person, man. Just a good woman, and basically the way I looked at it is I was just doing right, doing the things I should have been doing all along, but also in my eyes I was trying to make up for the things that, you know, she took care of my dad, so I tried to be there for her, just like she raised me to do. And so I was there for her, and like I said, she had a birthday in February. Next thing you know, like I said, everything's going good, man. Life's good. I'm sober. And I dropped my stepmom off after I took her out to eat for her birthday, and next day she had passed away, and some things that happened, man. It was just like I said, she passed peacefully, but what I know is, like, no matter how bad I wanted to drink or get high that day, you know, I was still doing the deal, man. Same gratitude list, same praying, same readings, and just knowing that where I've come from, where I'm at now, is just a major blessing. And I say this, man, because like I said, I've never spoke here before, and I was nervous about it, and just kind of worried about it. But looking back, like, how could I not give somebody, at least try to give somebody some hope, just like it was gave for me, especially when I was sitting in treatment completely hopeless. And you know, it just took one thing for me to hear that helped me get, you know, to open up my eyes. And so here it is, you know, here I am 3 years sober now, and same job, I'm busy, stay constantly gone. I don't get to be at the Wilder building like I used to be, and I miss it a lot, man, because like I said, I was on fire for AA for a long time, and now that I don't get to attend a lot of meetings, I do stay connected with people, my sponsor and a couple friends as well. And saying all that, like, I still do the same things that I do the same things today as when I got sober. The gratitude list, the praying on my knees, the same readings each and every day, and the life that this gave me is just is more than I could have ever asked for. I remember Harold saying in treatment, write down everything that you want in life, and then and like, I wrote some things down. Like, if I would have just been okay with what I wanted in life, I would have sold myself short years ago. And just thinking about it, man, this program, and like I said, I got a lot of friends in here, and I got a lot of people that I don't know in here, but just knowing that we all on the same path is a blessing. And I'm just grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm gonna stop rambling, man, but like I said, I appreciate everybody in here, the newcomers as well, because that's what keeps me motivated, seeing new faces and stuff, man, because I've been the guy that sat in the back and was drunk or high, and I sponsored myself, and It was horrible, man. It was just, like I said, but I know what that feeling's like. And like I said, I'm just grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's a privilege to be up here. And thank you, Andy, for asking me.